Every couple of years, we compile a list of athletes we'll be following as they pursue their Olympic dreams. Born here, raised here, went to school here, spent a few days training here. We proudly include them in Team Idaho. And in that vein, we've been tasked with coming up with some stories with a hook to the host country. Any affiliation to France is going to get us through this fortnight, I promise. Idaho has several places with a link to La République. Think Paris, Idaho, or Montpelier, Idaho. Bellevue, which means beautiful view, or Bruno, which means the brown or dark-skinned one. Speaking of skin tones, I think we can all accept these places we're about to talk about in Idaho were inhabited and likely named something else long before anyone with a European origin stepped foot in what would one day become Idaho. Idaho's French connection is scattered across the state, from the top, which is actually way off to the side, to the bottom, which is more near the top of the state. It's enough all over the place to make one malad, but it all goes back to the beginning. You see, following the footsteps of Lewis and Clark's Corps of Discovery, capitalists discovered there was money to be made in fur. By 1809, the Northwest Company set up a trading post on the banks of what was then called Kalispell Lake, named after the nearby Kalispell tribe. But the French-Canadian trappers dubbed it Lake Pend d'Oreille, French for hangs from ear because, well, they believed the natives wore earrings, except they didn't. About the same time, another lake to the south would be called Coeur d'Alene by other French-Canadian fur trappers. Heart of the all, it meant, because it must have been carved out by the Creator. But it also meant the local tribe, well, they were sharp. They had a talent for trade. Remember that reference to tribal jewelry that really wasn't a thing in Pend d'Oreille? Well, it wasn't a thing for the Nimiipuu either. But the Nez Perce were named for nose piercings they never wore. The French were laying their foundations in the south as well. We've all heard the story of Le Bois. The river that runs through Boise was either known as the Wooded River or the Boise River, depending on what language you spoke. Legend has it, French-born fur trapper, explorer, and U.S. Army officer Benjamin Louis Oulalale de Bonneville rode over the southeast foothills and exclaimed, "Le boisé," or the trees. Despite no evidence that actually happened, the name stuck, and Fort Boise was built a year later. The future master of that trading post, Francois Payette, his name would take over the town of Boomerang in 1891. Oh, and Bonneville would bounce back too, getting his own county in 1911. A couple of places have slipped a bit from their French origins. Think Du Bois, spelled and previously pronounced Des Bois, is a city in Clark County. Montpelier, Idaho's furthest southeast corner, way down there in the southeast part of the state. That was a stop along the Oregon Trail and called several different things before Brigham Young rolled through in 1863 and renamed it after Vermont's capital.